Hi, y'all. Um, my name is Betsy, and I go by betzlinastitches both here and on Instagram. And this is a channel about cross stitch. So, welcome if you're new here, and welcome back if you've come back to see another episode. This week is just going to be a regular Flosstube update. So, we'll get started with finishes and starts and talk about works in progress and maybe a little bit about things I've been thinking about. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I have one finish, and this is actually something I finished right before this recording this because I just couldn't handle it not being finished for another video. But this is my 2024 phases of the moon temperature chart. And I think the last time I showed it to you, all I had left to do was put Washington, D.C. And and a couple stitches that just needed to be finished at the bottom border. So that's this one. Um, I'm not sure if you can see all of the little back stitching on each of the little moons, but um, that was a labor of love. But yeah, I'm really pleased that this is complete. Um, and it'll be ready to be framed soon. So that is my one finish. And then my two starts that I have are Christmas ornaments, both from the Jingle Ball Baubles ornament book from this year's Jingle Ball in December. Um, and so those were planned starts. And they are both have deer in them. So this one is with love and a little help. And I'll put up a picture of what that looks like. And this is my start. So this is a 32 count Lugana in the colorway Gold Rush by Bestitch Me. And I've just got the start of this deer. Um, and this one I'm doing in DMC, and it's 2/2. The second ornament I started is called Our Dear Home by Jeannette Douglas. The last one is by Pansy Patch Quilts. And this is a 36 count called Frost. It's a linen by Bestitch Me. And this is my start. So hopefully that is focusing. So there's a little deer in the corner there also. And this one, I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but it called for either a variegated thread or a blend of threads. And I decided to do this 1/2 to try that out. And so in order to do 1/2 with a blend of DMCs, I did 1/2 of the X in one color and 1/2 of the X in the other color for that green border. So that was a fun experiment. I've never done that before. I think it's okay for this one, but I'm not sure how I feel about the 1/2 on 36 count. I think I might do that in 2/2 from now on, just because I'd like it to have a little more coverage. So those are the two new starts. And then this isn't really a finish, but I'm all caught up on the Stitch for Pride 2025 stitch along with these 20 stitches. So the top here is the January motif. That's Elegabilis. And then the bottom one is the February motif, and that is representative of Hatshepsut, who was a pharaoh who used both feminine and masculine pronouns and dress to sort of, well, we don't know exactly, but some of the masculine characteristics that they took on may have been to help solidify their place as a pharaoh. And this is called the Hawk of the Pharaoh, is the piece that this is based on. And I just love this. It's on a 32 count plum hemp linen. And this new colorway is called Mefcat. And that is by the dyer is Algie Ross. And this top one is Indicum, which is another blue. It's kind of hard to see, but the blue in Elegabilis is more of like a baby blue. And then the Mefcat color is more of like, it's a little bit more teal-y. But yeah, this has been good to work on, given the state of the world and what is happening to our trans community. It's helpful to think about the historical significance of trans and non-binary people throughout history, and how that's not a new thing. And yeah, there's been a lot going on. I know there was a discussion on Instagram earlier, maybe last week, that was about, having signs to indicate that your shop is a safe space and that you value diversity and inclusion at Nashville Needlework Market. And I was happy to see that many of my favorite designers and shops were completely on board, but there were definitely some folks who said, why is this necessary? It just creates division. And I don't really understand that perspective. I think saying that you want to promote kindness and safety for people who've said that they've been harmed in the past, it's just the way it should be. So, yeah, I hope everyone has a safe and lovely time at the market, which is coming up pretty soon. There's been a lot of great designs coming out, and yeah. So let's see, what else did I work on? I'd got, I think, most of my goals that I was hoping to do in February done. So I worked on Night Sky, the temperature chart that I'm doing for 2025. So this section right here is where the February stitches went in. I think I might have miscounted on the last motif up here. But that is almost cut up. And then I just need to finish some stitches in the earth. So this is Night Sky, and the designer is Climbing Goat Designs, and this is on a 28 count black Monaco. And I'm just using DMC. This is a both maximum and minimum temperature chart, so you can see each motif has two colors. One of those represents the maximum temperature, and one represents the minimum temperature. So a lot of kind of fiddly and a lot of color changes, but I'm really enjoying how that's turning out. So that's that one. And it's 2/2 as well. Stitch for Pride is also a 2/2. And then the next thing I worked on was this Juneteenth day. This was a WIPGO call, and also sort of served as my project to commemorate Black History Month. So this is the top of that design. I, during this last month, completed these motifs and all of the waves. So that's good. And I was kind of thinking about how previously I had done a thing where whenever I picked up a project, I tried to get to the next 5% marker. So I did that a little bit with this one. I think I worked an extra day or two on it just so that I could like finish that band so the next time I'd start on the new band. And this is just a 32 count natural linen, and the thread is 2/2 with the called for DMC. And that's This Juneteenth Day by Shaded Stitchery. And then I think I mentioned that I wanted to work on this one, Ars Robotica by Ink Circles. This was my Leap Day start, and so I want to get it done by Leap Day 2028, sorry. And I started it on Leap Day last year. So I think I filled in some of the white in the parts that I had completed, and then I started with the gray on this layer of the mandala. So that's that one. And it's over 25% now. And this is on a 30 count called Aspen. And the colors are the called for colors. I think they might be Classic Colorworks or Color and Cotton. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of like muted in terms of colors, but I really like the design. So my second WIPGO call from my WIPS and Starts board was this Delft sampler I've been working on. So when I last showed it, I had outlined I had done the backstitch on the windmill, and I had done a lot of the cross stitch on the shepherd. So this time I finished the cross stitch on the shepherd, and I did the backstitching, and I just love how this project, like, almost doesn't look like anything when it's just cross stitch, and then the backstitch just really brings it alive. I didn't even really realize there was a sheep until I started doing backstitching. And then this is like a center motif that is like a floral arrangement, and I outlined it, which I'm doing in I'm doing the outline of the tiles in 3 strands of DMC over 2. It originally called for doing the whole thing in 3 strands, and I didn't want to do that. But I thought it was nice to give it some dimension to have these outlines be a little chunkier. So that's where I am on that one. I also, before I started working on this, I spent a couple of days putting the paper pattern into Flosstube, at least for these tiles, because when I had been working on it before, I just kept losing my place on the paper, and I didn't want to write on it because I thought maybe someone else would want this in the future. And yeah, I just kept losing my place and stuff. So I put it into Floss Cross, and then there's a way to export it into a Pattern Keeper compatible version. So I've just been using that. And yeah, I think it's much less painful to do it that way. So those are my works in progress for this month. And yeah, I guess now I just have plans, and I do have quite a bit of haul. I want to say that some of my haul may be revenge patterns. I don't know if you all watched the Flosstuber A Stitch in the Matrix, Wendy, but she always has a section at the end called revenge patterns, because it's like when people show you their patterns, then you have to acquire them or whatever. And that always happens to her with other floss tubers. So this is sort of like a revenge for that, more enabling for your watchers. But yeah, so I'll get those out as well. So I'm going to start with plans. So then for anybody who doesn't want to see a haul or investments or whatever, they can stop there. But yeah, so my plans for the next month are to keep up with Stitch for Pride 2025. So there will be another motif coming out tomorrow. And then I also would like to keep up for the most part with the night sky temperature chart. It really only requires a couple days a month to keep up with it. So just whenever I can fit in some motifs, I'll work on that one. And then the WIPGO calls for my WIPS and starts board was Sloth meditating, which I'll put up a photo for here. I'll get some progress on that one. This is where I'm starting from, so maybe I'll get like almost done done with the Sloth's body. Hopefully, we'll see. This is another one where it's like where the pattern is, it's full coverage, and there's a lot of different colors that are very similar. So sometimes that prevents me from getting a whole lot of progress. But if I just like put in a little bit here and there, it goes okay. I think this is what percentage of it? Yeah, let's check. Looking at my Notion, Um, it looks like I have just a little under 2,000 stitches left, and I'm at 73.1%. So I could finish this. That would be good because this is supposed to be a gift. Um, so yeah, that one. And then my other call for that board is just a square that says FFO's 3 days. So hopefully I'll do some finishing. But I'm thinking that gives me a little bit more time for other stitching adventures. Um, so I am going to sign up for the Lola Crow. The new stitch along is Extraordinary Birds. And she mentioned what color would be a good color, and it's a piece of fabric I already have. So it's a Sandbar by Bestitch Me. And so it's like it is this beautiful like blue and cream color. So yeah. So I usually the way it works is there's some sort of frame or something to set up that we'll get started on once the pattern is out for that, and then the main stitching I think starts in April. So hopefully I can get myself really set up for that one. And then for my ornaments WIPCO board, the calls were Christmas Cats and Owls by Owl Forest Embroidery. So that'll be my first Owl Forest Embroidery piece. So I'm looking forward to that. These are pretty small design. I think there's like 6 of them, and they're each a cat or an owl in like a winter outfit or something. So that'll be good. And then yeah, so that is one of them. And then the other one is called Let It Snow. And that is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And that's from the Jingle Ball Baubles book. So I'll be starting those two. And then, let's see, what else? And then I'm not sure if it'll happen before my next video or not, but I am planning to go to the Nash Stash Startathon. It's like an online retreat done by Lindy Stitches. And since I don't get out much, these online retreats are a good way to connect with other cross stitchers. And yeah, so I think those are all my plans for March. I was trying to decide if I'm going to start something else, which I'll mention when we get to haul, but I have a few things that are on my WIPCO board in the starts and WIPs things that I don't necessarily need to wait to start. I could start them now and then just when it gets called, work on it a little bit more that month. So yeah, I'm still thinking about that. And I have been semi following Marjorie Maid's Pick a Whip, and so those ones are also coming up. I think one of them will be really easy given what I have to stitch on because I can double dip with something else. It's a dark floss or dark fabric, and I have a lot of those. And even the Sloth meditating is on a dark fabric. And then the other one is friend pick. So it's like you say, out of these projects, which one should I work on? And ask a friend to tell you. So yeah, those are my plans. Um, I have been finding that stitching is a good distraction from all of the craziness in the world right now. I don't know how much everyone is aware of what it's like in DC right now, but um, I went to grad school for international development, and so many of my former colleagues and former classmates are being affected by the spending freeze at USAID and um, losing jobs, losing like any sort of um, clarity about their future in terms of their careers. Um, some folks are the provider of healthcare for their family, and they've been um, fired without cause, really. Um, and there's a lot of other people in other sort of research spaces that I'm connected to who are losing their jobs. So it's been uh, difficult. Um, and so far, our nonprofit has not been um, hasn't required additional like loss of staff, but we do get some federal funding, so we're not really sure what will happen next. And it's just it's really sad to watch the dismantling of so many institutions that I know have done so much good. Um, And so I'm trying to, get some meaning out of some more like meaningful stitching in terms of like Stitch for Pride and other things. But then also just, sometimes you need uh, something to do that's producing something, being artistic, and not think about what's going on in the outside world. So yeah. So next, I'll be talking about haul and things that I purchased. So if that is not your thing, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you have the best day that's available to you, and um, that you get some good stitching in. Um, and yeah, hope that you are finding good ways to take care of yourself, even in if any of these things happening in the US right now are affecting you personally. Um, I'm thinking about you. Okay, we'll be back in a sec for haul. Okay, so starting with the things that are not revenge patterns, um, I purchased uh, this quarter of antique white Joblin at 28 count. This is for a Biscornu. I decided I want to try to make a Biscornu, and it asked for 28 counts, so that's what I got because I don't know how it works, and I want to make sure it's the right size and everything. And I got it in even weave because then I figured there's not as much like differentiation between um, slubs and the way that different linen is sometimes not so even. And then for Stitch Muse Fabric of the Month Club, I got a quarter of 36 count linen in Frozen Lake. It might be a little bit closer to accurate. So that's pretty. And something about this one of the starts that I want to do this year is called A Tribute to Anne Frank, and it's by Kyoko Maruoka. I think I'm saying that right. And I'll put a picture of it up. But I had originally thought maybe I would do it on this much more moody color of Bestitch Me Aquarius. But the preview image shows something much closer to Frozen Lake. So let me know. Which one do you think I should do? And I will say Frozen Lake is washing out a little bit. Maybe that's better. So that's it for fabric. And this is an old acquisition, not a recent one. This Aquarius quarter. And then I got my Classic Colorworks Floss Fix from the Fat Quarter Shop. So I get 6 colors in alphabetical order from Classic Colorworks every month. And we're still in the M's. So the first one I got is called Milady's Teal. Which is almost gray. And then Mint Julep. Miss Madeline was like a very light pink. Mistletoe. And Misty Mauve, which is like sort of a brownish purple-ish color. So those are nice. And then I think everything else is patterns. So only one of these did not come from a D-stash. And that is the Biscornu. So I looked around for the skunk one because I really like the skunk Biscornu. But I ended up purchasing the Octopus Biscornu by Tiny Modernist. So I'll be stitching that at some point. I don't know when. And then I got patterns from 2 different D-stashes. So one, I think they were both on Instagram. And one, the person's name is Lola. I will put the name up if I can find it. And one of the things I got, I actually found out is a Nashville release. So I don't know if this came out for a retreat or something beforehand, but it's called An Ode to Libraries. And I just really liked both the sentiment and the color palette. So it's An Ode to Libraries by Heartstring Samplery. And then this one is by Joan Elliott Design, which I've heard about, but I haven't done any of her patterns. It's called Celestial Symphony. It's just a really interesting looking design. And I just love things with stars and moons and suns and things in them. And then the last thing I got from her is the companion piece to the winter pattern kit that my partner got me. This one is summer pattern. So it has the same like mirroring effect. And that's a kit also. So maybe I'll make 2 pillows if I am good. Yeah. And then the second D-stash that I bought from was Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. So that was great. She had a lot of different things, and yeah, I like helping out other people, and like it's secondhand, so I feel a little bit less consumery about it. It's still consumery, but the first one is Teresa Wensler's Unicorn. I really wanted to try one of her patterns because she does a lot of really interesting things with blending of threads, and I wanted to try that out. And we also have a giant unicorn painting in our house, so I thought, maybe I need to start a unicorn wall. So that's that one. And then Nevermore by the Prairie Schooler. This is one I'd looked at before and thought about purchasing. So, and then another Prairie Schooler, Bump in the Night. I think there was a stitch along happening with this last year at one point. But yeah, I love the little bat small and also this cat right here. And then this one has a bunch of different things. It's by Marie Driscoll from Blackberry Lane Designs, and it's called Witch's Night Out. So there's like a bell pull and a scissor fob and like a couple other little smalls. But yeah, I'm excited about that one too. And then finally, this one is Little House Needleworks In the Beginning. And I just really like the color palette, and like I figured I could modify the people, maybe make it 2 people and 3 cats. I'm not sure. But yeah. So that is my haul. And yeah, I think that's it for me today. Will be less than an hour this time. We'll see after editing how much it is. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. I hope you're having a good stitchy day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.